जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारि यमुनतीरावनचारि जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारि यमुनतीरावनचारि जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारि यमुनतीरावनचारि जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा गोपी जन वल्लभा राधा गोपी जन वल्लभा जय निताय पतिता पावन गौरा हरि निताय पतिता पावन गौरा हरि प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र स्तुति जिवाइंद्र सभ्य चरणारिंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र स्तुति जिवाइंद्र श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। शिल रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीवा गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ छल गोस्वामी प्रभु गण की जय। प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोपी जन वल्लभ गोप गोपीनाथ श्यामा कुंद राधा कुंद गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। श्री मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री एकचक्र धाम की जय। श्री गंगा मैया यमुना मैया की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंद। श्री कार्तिक मंथ महामहोत्सव की जय। और ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज, और ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज, और ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज, और ग्लोरीज, और ग्लोरीज, और ग्लोरीज लोटस फीट ऑफ श्री श्री गुरु एंड श्री गौरंगा श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकां। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादां सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपीश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते। भक्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी निधि नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। पंचतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपास्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29, verse number 34. Mana shaitani bhutani praname bahumanayam Ishvaro jiva kalaya pravishto bhagavaniti. Mana shaitani bhutani praname bahumanayam Ishvaro jiva kalaya प्रविष्टो भगवानिति। मनाशयितानि भूतानि प्रणामे बहुमानयन् ईश्वरो जीवकलया प्रविष्टो भगवानिति। Synonyms: manasa, with the mind; etani, to these; bhutani, living entities; pranamet, he offers respects; bahu, manayan, showing regard; Ishvara, the controller; Jiva, of all living entities; Kalaya, by his expansion as the super soul; Pravishtaha, he entered; Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, iti, thus. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Such a perfect devotee offers respect to every living entity, because he is under the firm conviction that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has entered the body of every living entity as a super soul or controller. Once again, such a perfect devotee offers respects to every living entity because he is under the firm conviction that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has entered the body of every living entity as a super soul or controller. Purport. A perfect devotee, as described above, does not make the mistake of thinking that because the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Paramatma has entered into the body of every living entity has become the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is foolishness. Suppose a man enters into the room, that does not mean that the room has become that person. Similarly, that the Supreme Lord has entered into each of the 8.4 particular types of material bodies does not mean that each of these bodies has become the Supreme Lord. Because the Supreme Lord is present, however, a pure devotee accepts each body as a temple of the Lord, and since the devotee offers respects to such temples in full knowledge, he gives respect to every living entity in relationship with the Lord. Mayavadi philosophers wrongly think that because the Supreme Person has entered the body of a poor man, the Supreme Lord has become the Ridra Narayan or Poor Narayan. These are all blasphemous statements of atheists and non-devotees. Once again, translation: such a perfect devotee offers respects to every living entity because he is under the firm conviction that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has entered the mind of every living entity as a super soul or controller. Very nice words. Mana Shaitani Bhutani Prana made Bahumanim. Man is to respect, and Bahuman is lot of respect is given. Mana, within the mind. Bhutani, all the living entities. Pranamid. Pranamid is pranam. Pranam, 8. So within the mind, he offers pranam and man to Bhutani, to all living entities, because Ishvara Jiva Kalaya. Kala Prabhupada explains is the aspect of the Lord. Ishvara has entered into Jiva in his Kala form. Brahma Samhita says, Vishnu Mahasa Iva Yasya Kala Vishesho Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajam. Kala. Kala means expansion. Vishnu Mahasa Iva. Iva is certainly, Mahavishnu is certainly Yasya Kala Vishesho. He is a Kala expansion of Govindam, who is the Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajam. Adi Purush is Govinda and Vishnu is an expansion of Govinda. Kala Vishesha. This word Kala also comes in the Krishna, the source of all incarnation. Here it says, Krishna is Swayam Bhagwan and all other are this portion of Lemni portion. Kala comes there. This is continuation from previous verse, which describes there is here Kapila Muni is describing the gradations of living entities from those who cannot walk all the way up, those who have developed their senses, and those who can walk, those who have developed the sense of taste, sense of sight, sense of smell, and gradually going up, those who are four-legged and then those who are two-legged, which is human beings, and among human beings, those who follow Varnashram, and among those who follow Varnashram, those who are Brahmanas, and among the Brahmanas, those who have read the Vedas are high. And among those who have read the Vedas, those who knows the essence of the Vedas are high. Certainly there is a difference between one who has read and one who knows the essence. Among those who knows the essence of the Vedas, those who are liberated are high. Means those who know, there's difference between those who know the essence and then those who are free from the unwanted habits like some of it is said that those who know the Vedas and higher than those is those who can convince others. And among those who can convince others, then um, about the Shastra, then higher than that is those who are liberated. And among those who are liberated, the higher are those who worship the Lord without any material desires. And last verse we saw Devati Prabhu explained, there is no living entity who is dear to Krishna than those who have no interest outside Krishna. And this is the characteristic of such people. Now we are talking about, that's why uh, I think in one of the previous discussion we also mentioned that this is a very advanced platform um, where one can see the Lord in the heart of all living entities, and those who can see the Lord in the heart of all living entities, they can easily offer respects to everyone because wherever they walk, they see Krishna is present in every living entity. Naturally, our vision, I mean, I'm talking about myself 100% sure. Our vision is not so elevated, and that's why uh, we see everything from the perspective of bodily conception of it. And when we see everything from the concept of bodily conception of life, then we either become attached or we dislike somebody. Both are based on um, bodily conception of life, both are based on viewing the other person from the lens of false ego. Very contaminated souls, actually. Everything is seen by a conditioned soul, fully talking about myself. Um, very external consciousness. Somebody does what I say, then very nice person doesn't do, then why this person is not doing. Everything we observe is just from the lens of false ego. Uh, there is no question of seeing all living entities. Seeing all living entity Krishna as a temple and Krishna as a very attractive consciousness, but Srila Prabhupada also said, speak according to your realizations. Today morning in the Bhagavatam, we were discussing the Jad Bharat pastime. And Maharaj Rahugana was speaking very nice words, as if he knows everything. Jad Bharat said, why are you speaking? You're speaking words that seems to be very experienced, but you are not at all experienced. Yogi Prabhu says, anybody can speak very nicely. But the path of Krishna consciousness is how much we are endeavoring to realize, how much we are experiencing to, how much we are putting our effort to attract the mercy of Krishna. That's all Bhakti Yoga is. That's all our platform is. How much we are putting effort to attract Krishna's mercy. How much endeavor we are putting. Especially it is recommended to put extra and extra endeavor in this month of Kartik. I don't know what else to speak. Would anybody like to ask anything and give me an opportunity to throw some reflection on that? Today we are reading a quote by Srila Prabhupada. We read a quote every day in our morning programs. And today Prabhupada was mentioning that Maya is very, very strong. And then Prabhupada said that's why one has to be very, very careful. We want to take the recommendation is we want to um, feelingly take shelter of the Lord. Feelingly take shelter of the Lord. Bhakti is actually bhakti. A lot of aspect of bhakti is about emotions. Is about investing our emotions in begging the Lord's mercy. Now, what we are discussing about is a topmost living entity who has no interest separate from Krishna. But naturally, when we see in our life, we have a lot of interest separate from Krishna. We have some interest in Krishna and we have a lot of interest otherwise also. And yesterday we were discussing how those interests, they, um, they make our Krishna conscious shallow. Kunti Devi also says those who have other interests, it is very difficult for them to willingly take shelter of Krishna. And this desire to enjoy this material world is very, very strong. But it is also seen that those who gradually, gradually take shelter of Krishna, slowly, slowly, the desire to enjoy reduces, slowly, slowly, but it's a gradual process. And the more and more we become more and more sincere, like all of you, in our Krishna consciousness, then it becomes difficult to tolerate the material aspects within us. It becomes more and more difficult to tolerate ourselves, to tolerate our own anarthas. And that's a sign that, okay, we really want Krishna, but we are disgusted with our own desires. And we also feel that I wish I don't have any such desires. I wish I don't act on false ego. I wish I don't have the like my tongue pulling me in a different direction to taste food items. I wish it becomes more. I can withdraw myself more. Then we find ourselves in various aspects. Any of the Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, any one of the roaming senses can deviate us from the path. Any one of the roaming senses. Here, all the five are completely uh, expert in deviating us from the path of Krishna. And that's why the path of bhakti that is shown by our acharyas is begging for Lord's mercy. In the beginning, we may neglect begging mercy feelingly because we think that we are doing good. I'm chanting my 16 rounds. I'm doing my seva very nicely. And I'm stable. And now I'm initiated also. Now I'm Brahman initiated also. Now I serve the deities also. And then many of these things can come, but at some point of time we realize that I actually don't want to work on what my achievements are, what my goals are, what I've achieved, and what is my number of rounds that I'm chanting on. But now I need to work on myself. Only when we become um, like when there is a strong desire to not have a material desire, or when we are frustrated with our material desires, by self-evaluating, and then when we feel that I am helpless, then only there is a possibility of taking shelter of the Lord. We cannot take shelter of the Lord artificially. That's why it's more difficult to take shelter of the Lord when we come to Krishna consciousness than later, because we realize that if Krishna can remove this desire, Krishna can give me attraction towards Himself. When we when we actually many times, but my own experience is we don't want to give up material desires also. We want material desires to be there because we feel like without material desire, where is the fun? Where is the pleasure? I want to be happy, and there is some conviction from my end that my happiness comes, and then we say something and we seek something from within our heart. There is this presence of the element of hypocrisy, what we speak and what we actually desire, and Krishna acts on what we actually desire. Maharaj says, his own Raghunath Maharaj says, yoga is when there is a harmony, external and internal. And when we actually desire only Krishna, hmm, the reason we don't even want to sincerely pray is because we don't want to get rid of our own unwanted desires. We are afraid to take the steps forward. Saswai Thakur gives that example of a family who, a girl side, they had to cross the boat. Um, it was the girl's wedding on the other side of the boat. They started going in the night and they got up in the morning and they realized they were at the same place. They were shocked and then they realized that the boat was anchored. So the boatman was rowing, but the boat was anchored. So this is our state. We are rowing over 16 hours of affordability principles. Rowing. The boat, and then we feel like my anchor is that I want to hold on to the materialism. I want to I want to enjoy. There is a story also, and Sasai Thakur says that's why some people are able to make more progress, some are not able to make so much progress because some are anchored. Some wants to hold on to their material desires. There is another story also of Ashtavakra. I think he was asked, why Maya don't leave me? And then he grabbed a tree and then he started telling the tree, leave me, tree, leave me, leave me, leave me. So it's one thing that um, If we want to hold on, then who will help? Krishna will not do anything against our desire actually. But Krishna, how Krishna helps is Krishna can give us uh, uh, a desire to want only Him. When the initial stages, we don't want to give up only our material desires and we want to hold on to them very strongly. And that becomes the 10th offense to the holy name, to maintain material attachments. Even after understanding so many instructions on this matter, but we want to maintain them. And then when we actually want to get rid of them, then there is another mountainous efforts that become so difficult to get rid of them. But when that feelingly prayers are offered, that's why we see the path taught by our acharyas is they are crying, begging for mercy, considering themselves very fallen, and telling Mahaprabhu, you are Patita Pavan, that's why you came. So when there is like desperation, then I want to become free, which is actually that to get the desperation itself is Krishna's mercy. Krishna says, Yesham satata yuttanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhiyogantam yenamam upayantate. Those who are constantly engaged in serving me with love, constantly again engage in serving me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. That understanding is also given by Krishna. It's just the like Prabhupada says, the Maya Shakti of Krishna is very strong. Whatever material desires you want to maintain also, there is actually no pleasure in those material desires also. Still you want to maintain them. They're the cause of suffering actually. And those pleasures exist only in the mind. And there is no pleasure there. I want to hold on. Hold on to them. And this we all have to realize for ourselves. What is that one thing or two things or probably if you're like me, then many things that we are trying to hold on to and what is blocking us in our progress. Krishna is willing to help us get rid of them. But Krishna will do when we feelingly take shelter of Krishna. Those fortunate living entities who have no separate interest other than serving Krishna. Great. They are Uttamadikas. Shuddha Bhakta. There is a song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Shuddha Bhakta Charana Reno Bhakti Anukul. The dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee is very favorable for our progress. There is one solution actually Bhagavatam gives is how to become free from material desires is the dust from the lotus feet of devotees. Yes, so Prahlad Maharaj also says to Hiranyakashipu that um, you are bound up with this desire of being God, being the controller. So you should take the dust from the lotus feet of devotees and smear it on your body, and then go to the forest. Go to Vrindavan and worship Vishnu. Also, in Guru Puja, we say, every day we say that. We have to think about it, what we are saying. The first line we say, the lotus feet of our spiritual master, the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. Just think about it. The lotus feet of our spiritual master, the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. And we may just not pay attention to it and not take shelter. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way. I've also seen that everything that um, our acharyas say or senior devotees say, they have value in every word they use. But many times we have a tendency to reject because their words does not match with our understanding today. And not reject, but not take them seriously. But over a period of time, we realize actually whatever they said was perfect. It just takes a lot of time for us to realize what they are saying. That's why it is said that intelligent person learns by listening, but less intelligent, he learns by experience, and unintelligent does not learn even that. There must be something that says the lotus feet of spiritual master is the only way by which we can enter pure. Pure devotional service means no interest other than Krishna. So apparently, it is impossible for a jiva to uh, practice pure devotional service by himself. Yugal Krishna also was mentioning few times he has mentioned that only Guru can give Shuddhana, which says. Nama Bhas you can practice, liberation you can attain. But no interest other than Krishna, only Guru's mercy can bring that. Okay, so that's all I have, unless there are some discussions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisance first about that. Thank you so much, Prabhu. 2 points I really appreciated is one is doing it with feeling, and the second thing is, how committed and surrendered we have to be with the Guru if our desire is that we want to get to that Shuddhanam stage. So Prabhu, I had a question. When you mentioned about the feeling, right, doing with the feeling, and there is, you have to have an emotion that's there. But I feel there is a thin line like between from that to being like complacent in that relationship. Or for example, like, how you can get that sahajiya feelings or dealings with, when you're worshipping the Lord. Sometimes, you can cross that. How can you be cautious and vigilant, when you're trying to have, or is it a natural, it just comes as, your material attachments go away? Does that make sense?
Yes, Mataji. Well, Mataji, it's a very difficult question, but very nice question. There are two ways we can understand the concept of feeling. One is the feeling that I was personally referring to was the feeling of, um, both angles happen side by side. One is the feeling of crying, that I like begging for Lord's mercy. Another is also, like as you are mentioning, the feeling of reinstating ourselves in a relationship with the Lord. Just we need to approach it very carefully. Prabhupada says we should approach. Prabhupada says Saraswati Thakur says, those who are chanting 16 rounds more than 15 years, Saraswati Thakur says, can approach. But then Saraswati Thakur says very, very carefully.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yesterday I was at the temple. I just wanted to share this importance of Guru. And while I was on the, praying, I was praying to Prabhupada, then to Gaurav, and then on the altar. I was praying in a different mood, and there was certain like emotional tinge was there. And what I realized was after some time, I just set I was listening my prayer and I stepped back. As soon as I did that, I heard Guru Maharaj's Kirtan. And it just struck me that whatever I did is not possible without Maharaj. So I didn't, my prayer, my service, or anything should start with my spiritual master. So that was the feeling as maybe I bypassed him. It was just like his voice had it gave me like, oh my God, how did I miss that part? So I was like, oh, thank you so much. But, I want to be more conscious. And then when you ended the class with Guru has to be, without the Guru's mercy. So I realized that I was able to relate with that situation yesterday I was having. So.
Thank you, Mataji. Just like we are trying to cultivate our relationship with Krishna, we also want to try to cultivate our relationship with Guru.
And not static. It keeps growing. It keeps growing and growing each day, and then it's different at each time, right?
Our understanding of Guru, whatever it was few years back, is different now, and whatever it is now will change as we progress. Just like we cannot understand how great Krishna is, all the way listen Guru that Krishna is great. We don't understand how great he is. We understand Guru is great, but we don't understand how great he is. But just like Krishna reveals himself to us as we become more and more pure, likewise, because Guru and Krishna are non-different we understand the principle. So Guru also is revealed to us more and more based on our own purity. But then a desire to cultivate the relationship is important.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
This is such an excellent point, Prabhuji. Such an excellent point. We generally hear, right? Based on our purity, slowly, Krishna reveals himself to us. In the same way, based on our relationship, slowly, Guru will reveal to us. This is such a nice point to meditate on in Kartik. Thank you.
That's why they say the relationship with Guru and Krishna simultaneously grows. It is not possible that we are going closer to Krishna and we are not closer to Guru. Then that's a sign that our closer to Krishna is more on a hypothesis level, or more on a like there is a verse which says impersonalist think that he is liberated, or mukta vimukta manina. Matlab he thinks that he has attained mukti, vimukta manina, but actually he is bound. Likewise, there may be an artificial feeling that I'm very close to Krishna, but if you're not feeling similar feeling for Guru, not very close to Guru, then that's a sign that it's a manina, it's an assumption. And over time, we realize that actually it was not true. Because we see
health check kind of. Thank you.
Because we also see like these pure devotees, like how Prabhupada feels for his Guru Maharaj. How our different Guru Maharajas feels for Prabhupada. So it's clear. It's not, and that's how they feel for Krishna, and that's how they feel for their spiritual master. That stage has to come. If not today, someday. That's a checkpoint.
Prabhuji, this point that you mentioned, our spirituality is a major part of our spirituality is based on emotions. The same point was brought by Shubha Vilas Prabhu also in one of the classes, if you remember, where he said, especially the point of prayers. So he said, we have to be personal. So it brought doubts in a lot of people's mind, and like some of us were discussing that we have heard we should we don't know how to pray, so better to recite the prayers because we don't even know how to pray. So there was this doubt, but then where will that personal aspect come? So after the class, Prabhuji answered this question. He said, yes, we should recite prayers from the standard prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam, but then again, in that also there should be some personal thing, personal feelings which should match, or which should be a part of that prayer. So as
Yes.
Madhavi mentioned this point, that Sahajya part where we get scared, because at least I will get scared hearing so many classes. Oh, I don't know where that thin line is, whether I'm making a mistake. Am I going in that direction? So Prabhuji answered in a very nice way. He said, Mataji, if you are thinking that way, then how will that full feeling come? So he said that full feeling has to come, but once you know the philosophy, don't think in that direction. Don't even think on those points. He said just go ahead with your full feeling and worshipping Krishna and keeping Guru in the center. Then that way everything will be taken care. So exactly same things what you mentioned, Prabhuji. I just wanted to bring forth that recently we've been hearing a lot about doing our devotion, our bhakti with emotions and feelings, and I think over what I have realized that going deep means doing with feeling. Going uh, deep in our
Thank
sadhana means doing it with feelings. So
you.
thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. I like the point that you mentioned, quoting Shobhala. So thank you for quoting. Personal aspect is there. That's why we won't be able to connect to all the prayers. But then some prayers we will relate to ourselves and we repeat those prayers and we add our own feeling to those prayers. And those prayers in a way become one with our prayers. But they are still prayers of Bhagavatam and our Acharya songs. Um, all right. Anything
Thank you.
else? It's good to end. Thank you all for joining and encouraging. Vanchakalpatavidhesha Kripasindevacha Patitana Pavanendra Vaishnavendra Namo Namaha Ananta Koti Vaishnavendra Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji's Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Very nice.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Mataji.